Hi, my name is John Rizkala. I'm going through a hard time right now. So what this is, what I'm going to do is every day for a year, every day until July 1st, 2027, I'm going to come on here and I'm going to record a video like this, unscripted, unedited, just me talking. I'm going to tell you what I'm going through, and maybe it'll help somebody else who's going through a similar kind of rough time, or maybe it'll just help me not feel like I'm doing it completely alone. So what's going on? I'm going to start with the end, and then we're going to go back to the beginning, I think. So the end is that yesterday I found out that my wife, Gabrielle Rizkala, filed for divorce. It's very hard for me. I have loved her with everything that I have for about 8.5 years. And so I'm gonna go back and tell you a bit, I think. Start with the beginning. Since you don't know me, you don't know us. So I'm gonna start with the beginning, okay? I met Gabi in college at West Texas A&M University back in 2016. Now, we were both math majors, and we had 2 classes together. We had probability, and we had like a introduction to Python programming class. And I was dating someone else at the time, but not feeling very good about it. I don't really want to get into that relationship too much, but if it comes up again later, then I will. Anyway, I was really into probability, and I still am. If you've seen some of my other stuff on my other channels, I'm still really into probability. I really enjoy that kind of math. And Gabi was in that class, and she says she didn't like me at first, and I didn't really notice her too much at first, I guess. No, that's not true. I remember she came into the first day of class, and she was wearing a black shirt and a skirt that was like just above the knee, and she wore like dark, I don't know, leggings or tights or whatever they are underneath. And she was very dressed up, much more than anyone else in class. And she was very attractive, very beautiful. And I noticed that the first day of class, but I also said, I don't think she's my type, right? I don't think she's my type. I was in another relationship, don't forget. And so I didn't think much more about it. We got to know each other a bit through that class, but especially in the Python class. I'd never done programming before, but I think I picked it up pretty easily, and Gabi struggled maybe a little more with it. Or maybe she was faking, I don't know. But she used to sit behind me in that class, and she would ask me for help, and I would help her. And that class ran from like 7 p.m. to 10 or something crazy in the evening. And I used to have to park. I used to get there in the morning and have to stay on campus for like 12 hours. So I used to park really far away because it was really busy. And so eventually, as Gabi and I got to know each other better, she would give me rides out to my car They had a bus. They had a bus that would pick me up from outside the computer science building and take me out to it was the First Bank Center where I used to park, and it was a really long walk. But there used to be a bus. But that bus, at 10 o'clock, it was like sometimes I'd be waiting till 11 to catch the bus. So Gabby started giving me rides out to my car. And one day, she gave me a ride out to my car. And I went to go get in the car, and I put the key in the door, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't get in. I knew that if I got in the car, I was going to drive back to Amarillo, and I was going to go back to my apartment, and I was going to text my girlfriend at the time, and she was going to be, I don't want to say bad things about her really, but I was so dreading that interaction that I could not bring myself to open the door to my car. And I turned around, and Gabby was sitting there in the driver's seat of her car, waiting for me to get in and leave. And I just couldn't do it. I could not do it. And I don't remember what she said, but I think she asked me if I just wanted to go for a drive. And I said yes. And I got in the passenger seat of Gabby's car. It was around Christmas time. It was like early December. And we drove around Canyon, Texas. We went down every street in that town all night. All night. We talked a little, but not too much. We never touched at all. But she let me sit in her car and just drive around town with her when I needed some kind of escape. I needed some kind of escape from my life. And for a night, that was sitting in the passenger seat of Gabby's car as we drove down every street in this little town, and we looked at all the Christmas lights. And in the morning, at 7 a.m. or something, the sun was coming up, and we went to there's a grocery store there called United that has like a hot food section or something. And we went to this United, and we went up to the breakfast counter, and Gabby ordered biscuits and gravy. And I also ordered biscuits and gravy. And I do not like biscuits and gravy, but just wanted to do the same thing as her, I guess. And we sat there, and Gabby ate her biscuits and gravy, and I don't remember if I did, but I don't really like biscuits and gravy. And she dropped me back off at my car, and I got in my car finally, and I drove back to Amarillo, and I actually went to my mom's house. Because again, I knew the girl I was dating at the time was going to be very angry with me for not texting her all night. She'd have been, of course, very angry, violently angry even, if I told her that what I had actually been doing all night, that I was out with another person and not texting her, even though nothing happened between Gabby and me at that time. So I went to my mom's house, and I took a nap, and I'm going to fast forward a couple of months at least. A couple of months later, I had gathered the courage, the fortitude to actually to end that other relationship. and I knew that I wanted to try being in a relationship with Gabby. And so after some time and a lot of terror on my part, I used to tell Gabby during that really early part of our relationship that I was a coward. And I am a coward, and what I mean is that things that really matter to me, things like asking her out, things like talking to her, were terrifying. I was terrified of that. But eventually Gabby and I did start going out, did start spending a lot of time together, and she would come over to my apartment and she would bring her little dog. His name is Bino. He's still around 8.5 years later. He's kind of an old man dog now, though. She would bring her little dog and she would come to my tiny apartment. It was a tiny apartment. I had a little TV, and I had the world's smallest sectional that was super cheap, and I had one of those Murphy beds that folds up into the wall, and had a bathroom and a bathtub and a little kitchen, and the apartment was really cool. It was built in 1929. It was very cool. She would come over to my little apartment, and I really remember, I remember a lot of stuff about that, but I'm going to tell you about one. There was a day, it was the afternoon. I don't think Gabby and I were really a couple yet, but she came over and she brought Bino, and she laid down on my couch, my tiny little sectional, and she fell asleep in the middle of the afternoon, and I didn't know what to do. And I laid on the couch too, on the other part, curled up in a tiny ball because I barely fit, and I also fell asleep. And when I woke up, Gabby told me that she doesn't sleep well, but that being with me made her feel safe. And she hasn't been able to just fall asleep like that in years. But being with me made her feel safe. And now, 8.5 years later, we've been married for 3 years, just over 3 years. I make her feel unsafe, apparently. Not apparently, she told me. I make her feel unsafe. Sorry. I think that's a good introduction. So I called this channel John Gets Better because I'm optimistic. I guess I don't actually know. We don't actually know yet if I am going to get better, but each day for the next year, at least, I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna talk to you and I'm gonna tell you what I'm going through, and we'll find out together. Okay. See you tomorrow.